They say the moment the town forgot everything was just an error in time. But I was awake when it happened, and what I saw was nothing short of an event waiting to unfold. The salty air hit me, sharp and exciting, as I stepped into the square. This was the heart of the town, always busy, always alive. Stands filled with shiny fish and bright fruit, and kids yelled as they chased birds. But today, something felt off. I held my recipe book close, my fingers following the worn cover. Serafina Nix? The voice was soft, but it cut through the noise. It was Sibylla Kershaw, the keeper of the town's secrets. She looked at me like she knew things I didn't. The crowd moved, and a woman walked in, purple greaves. Her clothes, once fancy, now looked tired. She stood tall, her eyes burning. She began to chant, her words rolling out like thunder. The air itself seemed to shake. Suddenly, a wave of light shot from her hands. People gasped and clutched their heads. I watched, frozen, as faces twisted from happy to lost. My hand flew to the locket at my neck, a strong grasp at something known. "No," I whispered, but I couldn't stop what was coming. The world blurred, and I felt something special slipping away. I was back in time, before the curse, before the fear. My kitchen was small, but it was my safe place. I hummed an old sea song, chopping veggies, faking I didn't care what anyone thought. My grandmother's recipe book lay open, its pages used by years of use. I talked to my herbs and seasonings like they were old friends, their scents at ease. "You remember, don't you?" I asked the herb, hoping for an answer. I was careful, always careful, because once I had believed the wrong person. They stole my recipes, my dreams, and left me with nothing but worry. I told myself I didn't need anyone, but when I saw the people smile at my food, I felt a tiny spark of hope. I wanted to believe I fit here. I wanted to believe I could fix this, even as my hands shook and my heart pounded. I have to explain why Mazarine stood in the square, casting a spell that stole memories. She wasn't always the villain. Once, she was Vesperine Lemoyne, a chef who dreamed of changing everything. She worked hard, poured her heart into every dish, but the town never accepted her. At the festival, Claremont Penrose, the judge, said her food was too bold, not right for tradition. The words stung like a slap. Even when she helped Orban Tiller win a prize, she stayed in the shadows, never getting credit. Alone in her room, she wrote in her journal, "Respect is for those who transform tradition, not those who just follow." She wanted to be remembered, but the town turned its back. Hurt and angry, she found Sibylla in the old apothecary and asked for forget-me-not, a magic that makes people forget. "If they forget, so will I," she said, her eyes burning. She became Mazarine Greaves, hiding her pain behind sharp words and darker magic, determined to make the town feel her loss. I was back in the main timeline. The spell was all around. Orban Tiller stared at his daughter and didn't know her. Clary Penrose walked the beach, her eyes empty. The baker burned the bread. I watched from a doorway, holding my guidebook so hard my fingers turned white. The town was scary, colors dull, laughter gone. I rushed home and started cooking, eager for answers. "Salt, herb, they're all here," I said, hoping the things remembered what I couldn't. I looked through my grandma's book, looking for a way to break the spell. "The dish, it can work," I said, but my voice shook. I needed help, but I was afraid to ask. I thought I
could fix everything with a simple directions, but every part I gathered pulled me deeper into secrets that this town buried for a reason. And now I'm starting to understand why some things remembered are meant to stay dead. I went to Sibylla's storage room, the air thick with dust and old secrets. "I need your help," I said. "The town is cursed." She looked at me, one eyebrow raised. "Cursed? By what? Bad fish stew?" I shook my head. "By magic. I know how to fix it, but I need something from the town's past." Sibylla sighed, tired. "The past is dangerous, child. The thing you need is tied to pain." My voice was steady. "Then we face it, together," she warned me. "This path has no return." I nodded, feeling the weight of everyone's hope on my shoulders. I left, decided but scared. At the wharf, Fenno Dre blocked my way. "Hold it, what are you doing here?" he asked. I told him I needed into the storage room. "Curse? More like old wives' tales," he scoffed. "Prove it." I showed him my box of magical sea salt, and he finally let me pass, but only after I said I would help his sister. The town was full of locked doors and guarded hearts. I visited Person's house. His child, Marigold, begged me, "Please help my daddy. He doesn't remember me." I vowed I would. I went home and tried to make the memory-restoring dish, but nothing worked. I tasted, spat, started again. "Too much, not enough," I mumbled, feeling like I was sinking. In the streets, I heard Person's voice whispering to a group of confused townsfolk. "She's the one, the stranger. She's to blame." My heart beat. I rushed back to Person, who held up an old newspaper. Chef blamed of recipe theft. My hands shook as I admitted. I was young. I trusted the wrong person. They stole my recipes, my life. Person's eyes softened. "I believe you, but this journey will bring up painful truths." With Fenno's help, I climbed the cliffs to find the rare flower spice. We fought off magical seabirds, and I finally grabbed a handful of the glowing flowers. I was tired but hopeful as I returned home, ready to try again. I was back in my kitchen, grinding the made-up word spice, when I felt eyes watching me. I looked out the window and saw Nazarene, her look sharp as blades. I knew the last battle was near. I whispered, "It's time," and gathered my bravery. That night, the town got mirth for the feast. The square was filled with lights and hope. Orban took the first bite. His face changed with pain as things they remember flooded back, good and bad. Worry spread, but Clary stepped forward, remembering her stories. The curse was breaking, but it hurt. I stood in the middle of the chaos, feeling the weight of every secret, every loss. This is the moment where everything I've learned about pardon, memory, and magic comes together in a town square. And truly, I have no idea if saving to someone who ruined everything will save us or damn us all. The lights glimmered as Mazarine stepped into the square. Her being chilled the air, making the shadows dance. She glared at me. "You think you can undo what I've done with a meal?" I nodded. "Taste and see." She hesitated, then took a bite. Her face twisted as memories crashed over her, her dreams, her pain, her anger. I stepped closer. "I know your pain. I've felt it too." The townspeople gathered around, telling their own stories. "We all have stories," Clary said, her voice shaking. Fenno nodded. "Let's share them. Let's heal." The curse shattered, a swirl of light and wind spinning from Mazarine. She collapsed, sobbing. The town rushed to her side. I was wrapped in hugs and thanks. Orban, Sibylla, Fenno, they all remembered now. The next morning, the town was different. Orban and Sibylla walked the cliffs, talking about what they lost and what they found. I remember the laughter, the smell of the sea, but not them, Orban said, holding a faded photo. Sibylla nodded. I'm afraid of what we've lost. In my kitchen, I cleaned my recipe book, adding a note. Kindness is the secret part. I looked at my grandmother's picture and let myself cry. At the harbor, Fenno hugged his little sister. "Fenno, I remember," she shouted, and he smiled. A woman stood alone at the pier until Clary brought her some bread. "For you," Clary said, and a woman took it, a small step toward being part of the town again. Later, I taught a cooking class in the town hall. We laughed, we cried, and we painted a mural of our story on the wall. The town was healing, piece by piece. My kitchen was filled with gifts from the townspeople. Jars of jam, fresh bread, thank you notes. I put my grandmother's recipe book on the shelf next to a new recipe book filled with directions from everyone in town. I touched the necklace one last time and set it beside the books. The memory feast filled the square with music and fun. Orban danced with his daughter. Fenno and his sister served stew. Mazarine laughed with Clary at the bread stall. I stood on a small stage holding up a glass. To the memories we share and the ones we've yet to make. The crowd cheered, bright and loud. Later, I stood with Sibylla and Fenno on the high rocks, looking down at the shining town. Sibylla gave me a new directions. Fenno grinned. "You're one of us now." I laughed, for real this time. In the painting room, Clary read the story of the memory feast to the children. I watched from the doorway, tears in my eyes, knowing my story was now part of theirs. At dawn, I walked to the beach, scattered magic sea salt into the waves, and whispered, "For the future, for us." The sun rose, and I hummed a sea song. My song carried out over the water as the town woke to a new day, full of hope and second tries.